All right, that's good.
She didn't get me, did you? Eric, get back in there to get my roll.
Please subscribe show. YouTube Cole Spivey. Yeah, man.
So I have this idea of doing YouTube World, or maybe YouTube Land, maybe a YouTube World and a YouTube Land. You go there and you vlog. They've got rides and stuff. One's called the Woo, one's called the Carpetbagger, one's called Grim Life. And all these different rides and little museums and vlogs and things that you go through. It's very vloggable. So you're able to bring your camera, film camera, movie camera, 8mm camera, smartphone device. You got all kinds of things, right? All different types of cameras, Canons and Sonys, all kinds of stuff. And you just vlog with big smiles on your face. And you're just smiling and doing selfies. All types of vlogging, video logs. We're checking on the new bridge. Looks like it's coming along pretty good, and they're really burning that gas, but it's looking pretty good. I haven't seen it in a while. Looking really good. There is the Buc-ee's. Bucky, Bucky, we love you, Bucky. Bucky, Bucky, we love you, Bucky. And we passed Bucky. Where? Oh, you're hiding. There you are, Critters. Critter the cat. And we passed Bucky's way back there. Bucky's is way back that way. Did you see it? You missed it. Oh well, we'll get Bucky's next time. We got Bucky's a few times. A few times. A few times. Now I'm going to show you something. So pay attention, children. Now, you go to settings, then you go like this, then you go like that. Then you have to go like this. Watch. There's copyright. You hit this button right here. You push this right here, and you can time travel. There's today. Look, I went back a whole month. I hit this button, I'm a time traveler. Then I hit this, and I go 88 miles per hour, and I go time travel to another date. I can go all the way back to when y'all left, right here on March 9th. Y'all left on this day, March 9th, at about 10:32 p.m. I can go back to that day. Go back to about right here. So I can go talk to your mom. Remember? There's the new temple or church or cathedral. I think they go by the word cathedral on this one. You can see it right there. Look at that. Isn't that great? It's a cathedral.
Let me show you what we got.
Okay, that'll work.
Kids, we're going to switch back over. There it goes. We time traveled. Now we're back. There we go. 5/31/2022. 4:31 p.m. Still time traveling. We're working on it. It's 4. The word is 4:53. We moved it through. We just got right there. We found it. Now we're there. It's a time traveling machine. He excelled in chemistry, and he was a genius level. He presented a PowerPoint thing before this whole classroom of people. He went up there really quiet, real nice guy. Really into Batman to a certain degree. Dyed his hair like orange or something. Maroon, orange, or some color. He killed 12 people in Aurora at a movie theater using tear gas or smoke bombs or something in like a certain type of assault rifle, AR-15 kind of thing. I saw Dark Knight Rises in Maine. Very scary experience. His name sounded kind of like Holmes or something. Some kind of name like that. His eyes were kind of like, you know, when he was being interviewed, and they put him on a lot of medicine for about a year, and he blew up because that medicine makes you gain weight. Matthew Lillard is going to play him. He's in the process of doing it right now. Matthew Lillard is a guy from SLC Punk, Salt Lake City Punks. Matthew Lillard also worked with David Lynch in this sequel to Twin Peaks. Very, very cinematic. There's a guy that really likes the Twin Peaks sequel, and he's got white hair, and he's kind of a punk. Jarmusch, or Jarmusch, if you're Linklater, Richard Linklater. It's like a Jarmusch kind of thing. And they get mad, okay? And Jarmusch is kind of a punk guy. NYU guy, got some grants. He did a movie that's called something to do with paradise or Permanent Vacation. Permanent Vacation was one of his early ones. Maybe not the first one. He also did a thing called Stranger Than Paradise. But this is Jarmusch. It's all wrapped up. And he really wanted to do this chemistry thing, this Holmes guy. But he got sidetracked. They say that it could have been like an uptake thing, serotonin uptake. Kind of like Prozac or Zoloft or something like that. Matthew Lillard might try to play him. Matthew Lillard worked with a lot of people. He also did Scooby-Doo. He played one of the characters in Scooby-Doo. Shaggy. Because his eyes are going to be like kind of like that. But they said when this Holmes guy went in there to this movie thing, Aurora, it was Aurora, and he started killing people randomly in this movie theater, throwing smoke bombs and all this stuff. And he thought he was the Joker from Dark Knight or something like that. When he did it, he was smiling. He enjoyed it. They interviewed him and stuff. There's hours and hours and hours on YouTube of interviews of him being interviewed by psychologists and people in law enforcement, and they try to understand it. But it was like an extreme case of identity crisis due to serotonin uptake. So you have Prozac, you have Zoloft, you have things like that. He bombed his own apartment. No, he didn't bomb it. He booby-trapped it because he knew they would come looking for him. And listen, he had a psychologist. He made a phone call right before it happened. It was a short phone call to his direct psychologist. Then he went into the movie theater in Aurora, which was probably around 2012, around that time, in that ballpark figure, on a certain day. Don't know the type of season. Don't know the season. I'd have to figure it out. But he made a phone call to get in touch with. Then he went in and did it. It's going to be called Aurora. And I know Drake. Drake actually worked with me on a thing called House Divided. I played a character called Donovan, who was a delivery driver that meets the protagonist, who was played by Eric Soderbergh. There was also an Asian lady that was younger that played one of the characters in it too. And then there was a baker or a guy that worked at a donut shop that was also a stand-up comedian that played the father in it. It was done in Orange County, Santa Ana. The lady that worked with me, supposedly she was a guitar player, but she opened for Frampton when she was a young girl and had played some guitar with me. And I was Donovan, and in an interview, in my interview, or the documentary, not interview, but the documentary, or not the documentary, but the video I did backstage with Eric, I was playing a jazz artist, kind of like La La Land kind of guy, that was playing the trumpet without a mouthpiece. The mouthpiece was missing from the trumpet. It was backstage. It was Drake's mom's theater in Orange County called Dia Patro or something weird. Santa Ana. It's still there. The Orange County crazies were like the Groundlings. They were doing stuff there too. And one night I ran into the scenery. I went out and ran into like this middle divider and knocked it over during the performance on accident, like in the middle of the dark, because the lighting. It was a cramped stage. It was a very small theater. But he was homeschooled. Drake was a homeschooled guy. His mom was into Stella Adler and acting and stuff. And we did House Divided. And then eventually, my goal was to go off to New York to the actor studio. Eric, at the time, Soderbergh wanted to go to Chapman and went to Chapman. And had his commercials and Nickelodeon. Drake first started working with Danny DeVito. He got into AFI. He's the youngest. This is David Lynch's school. He was the youngest kid to get in, right about 17. We did a student film called The Bum. I played Donovan, again, as the pizza delivery guy. The Bum was about they try to rescue a bum and get him work because he's out in the heat and all this weird stuff. And he got into AFI. And then he started doing, eventually started working with Guy Pearce. And he's worked with like everybody. He's about to do Aurora. It's going to happen. It's going to be a weird one. It could be up for like a Best Picture thing. And it's going to be crazy. Because we were all waiting. Because when I talked to Eric a long, long time ago, maybe 10 years ago, he told me about Like Crazy, which came to my nearby movie theater over by the Rave. A long time ago. It's like 2012, before I left for Maine. And I went in there, and Like Crazy was right there. The poster was right there. It was nationwide release with a guy that got killed by a Ford Cherokee. It malfunctioned and ran over him. And he's no longer with us. Yekin or something like that. Anton is what they... Yelkin is like it's like a Russian name. And he was had a Russian ancestry. His first name was Anton. Never met him, but I heard about it. I heard about the Ford Cherokee, and it backed over him. Grim Life did a whole thing on it. Grim Life Collective did. I was probably... Don't know where I was when that happened. I know he did Beauty Inside. Drake did Beauty Inside, and I auditioned out of Maine. I had a horrible connection. I tried to do something with my cats. It was tough. It's a tough thing. It's all connected. Everything's tied together. But yeah, Aurora is going to be exciting. I could be wrong, but I'm almost certain that's what it's going to be about. Aurora also is known to be that incident, which happened at a movie theater with the mass shooting, was the biggest incident where first responders, 9/11 operators, first responders, paramedics, cops, fire department all came together in a split second to bring people to the ER and save lives. It was a choreographed kind of thing. Like everybody was barely going to make it. Some people made it. Ages ranged between 6-year-old to, older, like middle age maybe. It takes time to study these things, but that's what my guess is on Aurora.